Good morning, all of you. So, as we know that till last class we have studied what is respiration in amoeba, what is respiration in fish, and as well as what is respiration in. Before that, we have studied what is respiration in plants, and as well as we have studied what is respiration in human beings, how it is taking place, and how it is carrying from one place to another place, and where the gaseous exchange is taking place, and who is involving, what is the process of the correct sequence of air passage during inhalation, and whatever the process of exhalation, what is the correct process. This is all what we have discussed in the till last class. Is it correct?
Sir.
Yes or no? Everybody. So, and also we know that we have
Yes, sir.
what is the rate of breathing, means when we used to take more, when our respiration process is much faster or else rapid, or when it is normal. If you are a good or healthy person, then what is our average breathing rate? And like that, inhaling air, what is the percentage of oxygen, carbon dioxide, and as well as water vapor? And same way, if you are exhaling, what is that? These are all the things we have discussed in the last class. Is it yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So now, from there we will continue today. So if you're understanding carefully, so this is all about the respiration process. And if it comes to the last concept of this life process is known as transport. So what does it mean? What do you understand? What do you mean by the transport? What do you hope people understand? Generally, if you know that. So basically, if I'll say I'm having a transportation business, or else I am working in transportation department, like that, something if I'll discuss. So what does it mean? What is the meaning of transport? What
Movement of a particular thing from one place to another.
so
Movement, sir.
carrying the goods, or when we are carrying the people, or whatever it is from one place to another place, that is what we used to define as transport. Is it yes? It may be a different mode of transports, correct? It may be a bus transport, it may be a train transport, it may be a lorry transport, or maybe a plane, whatever it is. Understanding air transport or else water transport, different kind of thing. Whatever it is, when we are carrying something from one place to another place, which has been produced from one place another place, or else people you can take from here to somewhere. If you're taking them through help of something, then that is known as transport. Is it yes? Yes or no? So the same way,
Yes, sir.
in our biology, we have a scientific meaning of transportation or else transport. So what does it mean and how it is involved, and why we should call it as transportation? What is the parts are involving in transport? It is in plants and as well as animals. Is it same in plants and animals? What is the difference between them? That is all we are going to conclude in this coming lectures. So let us start with that. So as we know that we have two kinds of species. Basically, all the species we can categorize into two things. What are that? What are that? We have two things, correct? So that
Sir, left, right.
plants and
Plant and fish.
animals. Is it yes or no? Do you understanding all of you? Basically, we have two kinds of
Yes, sir.
correct or not? So maybe if you are seeing something in this nature,
Yes, sir.
maybe belongs to the plants family, or maybe belongs to the animal family. Do you understanding or not? Yes or no? So the body of every organism it will take in this universe, in this earth, everything it maybe belongs to the plant or maybe belongs to the animal. Correct? Basically, all the things. Correct? So now
Animals.
this every plants and as well as animals, everything is made up of something. Can you able to say what is that? Everything, plants and animals, both the things they are made up of. Their bodies are made up of something. What is that? Can anybody? Every organism it will take it. If either maybe it is a plant or maybe an animal, doesn't matter. Everything it is made up of something which we used to call
Cells.
cell. Very good. So every plant
Cells.
animal,
Cells, sir. Cells.
are tissues, or else the tissues we used to call as cells. Every organism is made up of cells. So, and even we people particularly, you can take all the plants and animals, they are multicellular organisms. Is it yes or no? Is it yes or no? So they have
Yes, sir.
a large understanding, more than organ. Every organism has millions and millions of cells in its body. So if you take single cellular organisms, they are very, very less in count. If you take any organism, suppose you, me, if you take any animal, any plant, even a small plant, small leaf, if you consider also, it contains millions and millions of cells in its body. So a large organism, if you take any kind of large organism, if you consider, it may be a plant or it may be a animal, doesn't matter. It contains what? Millions and
Millions of cells.
millions of cells present in its body. Cells present in body. Because as we already know that we are all multicellular organisms. So in order to that, the organism may be able to maintain its life and survive. All cells should be alive, or also only few cells should be alive. If it wants to maintain its life, in order to maintain its life, and it needs to survive in this earth, all the cells must be supplied with essential substances. For example, like food, oxygen, and water, etc., etc. Or else only some cells if will supply, is it enough for us to survive? Tell me. Suppose if any organism, let an organism called as an organism known as human. Let me consider human being. Human being I am taking. Now you tell me, as we know that our human being is made up of millions and trillions of cells. Is it yes or no? Please let me know.
Yes, sir.
So now, as we know that, is it in need of supplying like water, food, oxygen, and etc., like blood, even blood circulation should be there, blood, everything. Is it required to supply the each and every cell of the organism, or else only if you are supplying to few cells, is it enough to survive and live? Is it enough to live and survive? Please let me know.
To all cells, sir.
To survive. Suppose my half body is dead. There is no supply of water. There is no supply of food. There is no supply of oxygen to my lower part of my body. Is it the cells will be alive? Please discuss. You speak. You communicate.
No, sir.
See, this transportation
No, sir.
is the most important.
No, sir.
And you have to learn so many new words here. So if you observe, if any organism, in order to that, organism may be able to maintain its life and survive. It must be able to live. If it wants to live, if it wants to maintain its life and survive, all its cells must be supplied with essential substances, mainly like food, oxygen, water, etc. Correct or not? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Some arrangements has been required, definitely. Who will carry? Understand? So my hand is made up of different cells. My hand is having, suppose see, my fingertip is having cells. My legs, my foot is also having cells. Then who will carry this, all the essentials from my heart, suppose for example, from upper to lower part, or else something generated in my body in the lower part, then who will carry? Something digestion is carrying in my stomach, then who is carrying throughout the body, the food? Oxygen is I am taking here, I am inhaling at the nostrils, then how it is supplying to the everywhere in the body. Understand? Or else carbon dioxide is producing in the respiration. Again, how it is carrying throughout the body to the lungs and lungs to the outside. So this is all. We have some special set of arrangement. Is it yes? Correct or not, Jesse?
Yes, sir.
We have a special
Yes,
set of arrangement. So some arrangement is required inside an organism. Depend upon the organism. I cannot say it is same for all the organisms. Is it true or not? Is it same for all the organisms? Is it same?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No. So depend upon the category, depend upon the type of organism, some arrangements has been required inside an organism which can carry these essential substances to all its parts so that they reach each and every cells of its body. Is it yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? So that is what we should call as, what we should call? What we should call? Transportation.
Transportation.
Transportation. So transportation means, it does not mean that something different. Like our general language, we can say to carry things from one place to another place. So same thing according to the biology, the things which is produced in one part of our body, or else which has been taken from one part of the body and need to supply throughout the body, means each and every cell, if you are supplying with the help of some arrangement, some special setup, that is what known as what? Known as
Transportation.
transport.
Transportation.
So transport, not transportation, transport. So transport. So the everyday meaning, general meaning of transport, meaning is what? Carrying the goods, carrying people or goods from one place to another is known as transport. Correct?
Transportation.
Yes. So now,
Yes, sir.
let us discuss. Still one or two is absent. Please make a call for them, because it is very, very important. Again, they may waste time simply. So just put a call for them, identify your friends and call them. So now, please all of you write, according to the biology, what is the definition of transport? So generally, transport means carry things from one place to another place. It may be a people or maybe a objects. Now, according to the biology, what does it mean? Means transport is a life process. Why we are doing transport in our body? What is the purpose? Can anybody say? I already told you. What is the purpose of transport?
For carrying the food produced in one part of the body to every parts of the body.
Ashika, I am not asking what is transport. What is the purpose?
To get energy
For carrying
Why you need
food,
it?
water,
Why you need energy?
oxygen to the cell.
Why I need to supply oxygen? That is what my question. What is the purpose of transport in biology? Kevin, Dina, anybody, Pranav, Arya, anybody can say. What is the purpose? I already told you. In order to maintain your life, in order to sustain, in order to survive in this nature, then you must have been supplied with the essential things like food, water, and oxygen, etc.
Water and
This
oxygen.
is what the purpose of transport. Do you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Knowing the purpose of the concept, why I should learn this one, you have to know the purpose. That is what I am saying you. If you want to come to know the transport, what is the importance of it? What is the purpose of it? Because in order to maintain the life and survive of any organism in this nature, it needs to supply essential things. What is that? What is
Food,
that?
water, oxygen, etc.
Oxygen,
Food, water, oxygen, etc.
etc. Whatever it is, carbon dioxide should come outside, like that, so many things, etc. So this is what the purpose. Why it needs to survive. If it wants to survive, these things are essential. If it wants to run the life, live the life, then it needs to that. That is why, in order to maintain the life and the survive, it needs to do some arrangement for transporting these kind of things. That is what we can say transport. That is the purpose of transport. Do you understand? So let us write the biology definition of transport. What does it mean? Can you please define transport now according to the biology? I have told you correct. Some special setup is required inside of every organism which can carry these essential substances to all the parts, so that in such a way that each and every cell will be benefited with the same kind of things. So what is it? Can you able to form definition, please? Any one of you. 19 students are there. Please let me know. Nitinath, Akhil, Arfan, Arya, Ashika, Dileepan, Humaira, Jessie, Kartika, Mari, Padmavarshini, Prahasini, Pranita, Tarani. Hey, Nitish Kumar, please make a call to him. Pranav, call to Nitish Kumar. Yeah, please tell me. Form a definition, Ray. What is this, Kevin? What is this, Padmavarshini, Pranita? Nobody is speaking. You just try to form the definition. I am asking you that. If every time I am speaking, then what is the use of yours? Then when you people will develop? Just farm, I am saying you correct. What kind of definition you can give? Suppose I will ask you to define transport in biology. What you will say? Something you speak. Later I will give you the proper definition, correct? I don't know what is this. Okay, carry on. You write it. Right. What? Kevin? Somebody speak. Right. Transport is a life process. Transport is a life process. Transport is a life process. All of you write it. See, something if you are learning, you have to make it. That is what I will say. Life process in which a substance absorbed. In which a substance absorbed. In which a substance absorbed or maybe made. That is what you should remember. It may be made by that body or maybe absorbed from outside. Absorbed or made in one part of the body is one part in one part of the body in one part of the body of an organism and carried throughout the water.
Sir, please show from first, sir.
Yeah, and carried throughout the what? Carried to other parts of its body.
Other parts of our body.
Carried to other parts of its body. Organism is carried other parts of its body. That is what we should say transport. If you will, they will ask you define transport according to the biology. Just something. For example, you see the digested food. Digested food, where it is taking place, where it is made, where it has been synthesized. Digested food in our digestive system. So that is what I can say example of made. Understand? So made, it has been carried throughout our body with the help of blood. Same way, absorbed. Lungs are absorbing oxygen. Lungs are absorbing oxygen. So it has been transported by whom? Throughout our body. Throughout our body, who has been transported it? Absorbed. Oxygen has been absorbed by lungs.
Blood, sir.
Blood, sir.
It has been transported by whom? It has been transported by blood. So that is what we should call as transport. Do you understand, Varshini? Define transport. That is what. Anusri, write it. All of you. So, large organisms, whatever you will take, like plants and animals, they need this transport. They need this transport because of whom? Why they need? Because in order to supply, understand, their bodies to supply all their cells with the food, oxygen, water, and any other materials, required materials. Understand? So they need this transportation. Every large organism. So special tissues and organs are needed for this transport of substances in plants and animals because the special tissues or else a particular organs can pick up these essential substances like oxygen, food and water, etc., at one end of their body and carry them to all other parts. Is it yes or no? So definitely it is not done by everybody. It is not done by every organism. It is not done by every cell or tissues. So only particular tissues or particular organisms are doing this transportation process in all the plants and animals. Is it yes or no? Is it yes or no? So now we will study the
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
transportation of all the organisms, all the large organisms called as plants and animals one by one. For example, you say transportation of plants and human beings will study. So plants means a particular plant will study, and as well as human beings is under animals, and describe the parts which make up these kind of systems, which kind of parts of plants are working as this kind of transport organs or tissues. Understand? And also we will learn how plants and animals carry substances from one part of their body to another. Means who is involving, what type of tissue is involving, or else what kind of organ is involving in these large organisms. We will study in this concept. Now, so let us come to as we know that plants and animals. Which one you will prefer first? Transportation in plants or transport in animals? Which one you want?
Transportation.
Plants.
Because plants are
Answer. Plants.
so we always will prefer with the plants. So as well as even Kevin already saying that, so plants are tissues called as xylem and phloem are the things who can supply. But let it be. We will study more in detail, very clearly, perfectly. So please call to absentees and tell me if you have any doubt. What is the purpose of Dilip and what is the purpose of transport? Why you should learn transport? Why you should learn transport? Dilipan, Prasini, Sarani, why we should learn transport? Anybody? Kumaira?
To live and survive in nature, we need oxygen.
Do you need oxygen? No, that is not the purpose. Why we should learn transport? Arey, Pranav is not there. Is there Pranav? Pranav not there. Call him, Ray. Dina also not there. Arya, make a call to Dina. Dina and Pranav, both are absent. Nitish Kumar also. The three fellows only absent is. Call them. Tell me, why we need, Arvind, Nitinath, can you able to say? Yalini, why we need to learn transport? For survival of life. Okay, Kevin, that's all. So now, let us discuss, all of you. So as we know that if any organism wants to survive in this nature, it needs this transport. Without it, it cannot survive. So that is why we'll go with the first big or a large organism called as plants. So all of you please keep a name. Transportation, transport in plants. What is that? Transport in plants. All of you learn the definition of transport. At least you can make your own also. Nobody will say objection, but you have to. That is what I will say. So now, transport in plants. So as we already studied that, which part or which tissues are involving in transportation, transport in plants, all the things.
Xylem and phloem.
Xylem and phloem.
So, transport system in plants is less elaborate than in animals. Means in the sense of, compared to the human beings, if you'll observe, plants are very less active and their cells do not need to be supplied with materials so quickly because like animals, plants cannot move from one place to another place. Is it yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. So that the advantage of plants is the transportation or else the transport of these things which is essential for the survival is not required that much faster or that much quickly because plants are very, compared to the humans or compared to the animals, they are very less active and their cells do not need to be supplied with materials so quickly. So also as we know that due to the branching shape of a plant, means it is having a different kind of branches. Each plant is having so many multiples of branches. Is it yes or no? So all the cells of the plant can get oxygen for respiration and carbon dioxide for the process of carbon dioxide for which process, Ra? Which
Photosynthesis.
photosynthesis directly from the air by diffusion. By which process? By which process? Diffusion. So, plants are existed. They are not. They are less active. They are less active. So that is why the transport process is not that much elaborate than animals. That is what you should remember because they are less active and they are having a different multiples of branches. Every branch is having a green pigment. Most of the plants generally I am considering they have a green pigment called as what is that?
Chlorophyll.
So the
Chlorophyll.
required of carbon dioxide for the photosynthesis reaction and enough required oxygen for the respiration. Both they can be taken directly from the cells by the process called as diffusion. Correct or not? So
Yes, sir.
both directly oxygen for respiration and carbon dioxide for what?
Photosynthesis.
So
Photosynthesis.
directly taken by where? Directly
Air.
taken from air by the cells
Diffusion.
cells of a different branches of cell, different branch of a tree, different branches of tree by the process of what? By a chemical process of
Diffusion.
diffusion. So
Diffusion.
diffusion is the phenomena where this exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen takes place in plants. Because why sir, even plants are much bigger than much bigger than organisms like animals. In last class I have taught you, because of we are multicellular organisms. So in order to supply the meet of required amount of oxygen to our body, diffusion is the only thing, is not sufficient to supply the oxygen for our complete body. Is it yes or no? Suppose by the process of diffusion oxygen wants to dissolve, then it will take how many years from our lungs to our feet?
3 years.
Lungs to our feet, how many years? Last class I have taught you, before class. It will take how many years?
3 years.
Huh?
3.
3 years.
So that is
3
why
years.
we have a special other thing, a special kind of transportation system in order to supply quickly in order to supply the oxygen. But plants, it is enough, even diffusion is enough to supply the enough required oxygen and carbon dioxide, because of it is having multiple branches and each branch is having cells. Each cells, the tissues are present in everywhere, every branch, every part of the plant, so that they can easily absorb the required oxygen for respiration and required oxygen for photosynthesis. Because why they are less active. They are what? They are less active. You understand? That is what the reason why they need, why the diffusion is enough. They will ask you the question, what you people will say. Like me, people will prepare question paper. They will ask you why plants are very bigger in size compared to the animals. Then why only the diffusion is enough to supply the oxygen and carbon dioxide? What is the reason behind? Because they are what? They are
Plants are less active than
Active. It's active than
Plants are
animals.
less active than
That is
animals.
what the reason behind. This is what the new present based question papers need. This one, a questioning mind. At each and every stage, we have to question something. What is happening? Why it is happening? So they are less active. And why? Because of this less active, what is happening? Their cells do not need to be supplied with materials so quickly. That's all. Understand? That is what. Write it. So their cells do not. So their cells do not need to be supplied. They do not need to be supplied with materials so quickly. So that is why diffusion is enough to supply the requirement. Do you understanding, everybody? Akshaya, Nitinath, Agilar Khan. That is the reason behind it. This is what the reason and assertion based questions. Understand? So that is what you people understand. They may ask you the question. Suppose, for example, you take assertion. Diffusion is enough to supply the oxygen and carbon dioxide for respiration and photosynthesis in plants. Bottom, they will give you some reason. Because they are more active, so their cells do not need to be supplied with materials so quickly. Is it true? Is it true? I am saying
No, sir.
they are more
No,
active.
sir.
No. Or else you see. So that I can say assertion is true and reason is false. Will you accept it? Please, all of you. Will you accept
Yes, sir.
it? That is what. Or else I can say another question. See, diffusion is enough to supply the oxygen and carbon dioxide for the respiration and photosynthesis in plants because they are less active. So the cells need to be supplied. The cells need to be supplied materials so quickly. Will you accept it? Which one is wrong and which one is right? Can you able to say? Kevin, Tarani Pushpa, Varshini, what is happening? Be active. I am saying that they need to be supplied. They need to be supplied with materials so quickly. So now which is wrong and which is right? As a reason assertion. Again what? Diffusion is enough to supply the oxygen and carbon dioxide for the respiration and photosynthesis. Is correct. But I am saying they need to be supplied. And they need to be supplied with materials so quickly so that assertion reason will become wrong. Correct or not? That is what the analyzing way of studying. We have to analyze the questions, way of asking questions. That is what the importance. So everything, see, case study based questions, 30% weightage, everything. So now for example, let me ask one question. Let me see who will say. You may know the two things, two enzymes which is produced in our body. One is pepsin and trypsin, which is active in acidic medium, which is active in basic medium. Please fastly, let me know.
So acidic medium pepsin,
Pepsin acts in acidic medium.
basic medium trypsin.
Pepsin. But if you'll ask your friends, if you'll ask your somebody also, X or Y, definitely they, so many even they don't know. They will say both are active in acidic medium. But that is what the in detail we have studied in the digestion process. Correct or not? What is the importance of it? What is the use of it? Where it is produced? Which is the first hormone or which is the first substance which is mixing with the digestive food? Everything we have studied the process wise. So you have to remember each and everything because that is only they are going to ask the question. Do you understand? Nothing will come from very difficulty. That is what they will ask you from inside the concept. Inside the concept, they used to develop the question. That capacity, if you are able to think while you're studying itself, if you are able to form your own question of yourself, then you can make it. Now, those who are sharp, they may be reason, they may be keep here. These are 2 points, they may be keep. It may become as a reason assertion. So that is what you should note it down in our classwork. So here you can keep, maybe may ask like a reason assertion and reason. So you can keep that. So in future, whenever needed, so you people will study. That's all. That is what I am saying. Do you understanding now? So this is all what we should put us in plants. So let us come to the plants. As we know that they are very less inactive, and in order to supply, no need to supply the materials so quickly. So diffusion is enough for them to supply the oxygen and carbon dioxide. But the only one substance which are to be supplied to the plants through through a transport system. That is what? Can you able to say what is that substances? The only few substances should be carried throughout the body.
Water.
What is that? Water.
Food and water.
Water.
And
The nutrients.
other minerals which they cannot.
Minerals. Yes, sir.
Is it yes or no? Suppose, for example, you take water cannot be absorbed from the plants and branches directly from the air. Is it yes or no? Water, it cannot.
Yes, sir.
Not absorbed.
It should come from the root.
Yes. It cannot be absorbed. Only roots can absorb and they need to supply throughout the plants. If you take any plant, so roots only can absorb the water and they will supply the thing. And also the mineral, suppose for example, if you take nitrogen, is it possible to absorb the nitrogen from the atmosphere directly?
No, sir.
So this nitrogen also what? It needs to be absorbed. It needs to be absorbed by the roots and from the roots only in the form of nitrogenous products. Nitrogenous products we will provide to the plants. Then the dissolved nitrogen will be carried throughout the plant. Because who is helping for the growth of the plant? Growth of the plant.
Nitrogen.
So nitrogen is the essential mineral for the growth of the plant. That is what we can say. NPK. What is that NPK? Nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus.
Phosphorus and potassium.
Phosphorus and potassium.
Yes, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So NPK level should be maintained. So these all the minerals they cannot absorbed by the air directly. Correct or not? So since they cannot absorbed by the air directly, So these kind of substances like water and as well as some minerals has to be supplied by some systems. So the transportation system of plants is to be transport these kind of water and as well as minerals, and also the food is produced in where? Anybody? Where the food? Where at which part of the plant is producing the food?
Leaf.
Leaves.
Leaves.
So is it necessary to supply that food throughout the plant or not? Suppose roots can supply
Yes,
the
sir.
water,
Yes, sir.
but
Sir.
roots can sustain without that food. Yes? No, correct or not? So the main purpose of transport in plants is the main job is to supply water and minerals, and also the another job of transport system of plants is to transport food which is prepared in the leaves of the various parts of the plants like stems, roots, etc. Means where the green pigment is present, wherever it is has been produced, that food should be supplied to everywhere, each and every part of the plant. So in order to transport this water, food and other minerals which is not possible to absorb from the air, we have two types of conducting tissues in plants. So the plants contains these two types of conducting tissues. That is what we should known as water, xylem.
Xylem and phloem. Xylem and phloem.
These xylem tissues, directly now itself I'm saying, xylem tissues carry water and minerals, like phloem tissues carry the food prepared by the plants. Directly I'm saying it, no confusion, nothing. Everybody should remember. We have two purposes of transportation in plants. What is that? Note it down.
So the nitrogen and nitrogenous products comes under minerals only, no, sir?
Yes, everything is under xylem. Understand? So now, all of you please tell me, what is the purposes of transport in plants? Transport in plants. So no need to supply of oxygen and no need to supply of carbon dioxide. This is not required for the plants. Correct or not? Because plants, each and every cell they can absorb. That's all. Even stems also. We have studied the respiration in plants. Root respiration will take place, stem respiration will take place, and next as well as leaves respiration will take place. So we no need to supply anywhere in the oxygen and carbon dioxide. Correct or not? Because plants, three types of respiration will take place, which I have taught you. Remember, that is why. So what is the first purpose of transportation, please? In plants, in order to supply water. And other minerals.
Water and minerals.
Minerals cannot be absorbed. Can't be absorbed by air directly. That is what. Now, what's the second purpose? Second purpose to transport
Food.
Transport food materials.
This water and other minerals has been done